All right, another pod on deck. We just finished recording another good pod. A lot of just dialogue this week. Wiffle talk. A lot of wiffle talk this week. Before we get into the homeowner, of course, but
I had a good time this week.
The off season it's on the move, and it's running a little too fast for old Tom here. Old Tom can't keep up with the off season anymore.
Man, trade talks, video talk, Drake and Josh talk.
It's just
this was a good one.
I got exposed a little bit in this podcast. You gotta hear from Jack. Jack's doing a lot of things right out here, and I'm doing a lot of things wrong, I think. And I think I'm getting lost in the mix amongst the crowd. But the offseason's definitely here. And when I say offseason, I mean pieces are moving, trade offers are flying, managers are talking, players making decisions. We're not gonna get too. Things are still in progress. Nothing's been solidified yet. No deals have happened. But there are some things in my inbox. I know they're in Kyle's inbox. And apparently Jack has talked to everybody in the league besides me. So with that, enjoy this episode. This is the Pipe It Up podcast, and cue the intro. I was going to wear shoes and I forgot.
Yeah, well. You got some red stuff on the bottom of your stocking toe region. There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
on your
welcome.
toe region.
Sorry, Jack, we started. You can use that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. We got the usual 2024 to 2025 offseason crew here. Myself, Kyle Schultz in studio, Jack Agner, the father of one, a proud father, joining us via Zoom. Jack, how are you this week? Good to see you.
Good, man. It's a great bio. I like the ring to that. Father of one.
You do?
It's
Girl dad.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going great. Doing well. Good to see you, Tom.
It's good to see. I guess you're the son to two. Yeah. Father of one, son to two.
Son of son to two. Yep, I do have
two parents. So you're son
Yep.
to two. Father of one. That's for your Twitter bio. Father of one, son to two.
We should just. Are you guys Game of Thrones people?
I'm not.
No.
I've tried and I've failed.
Okay. Disregard what I was going to say then. But what I was going to say, if you were Game of Thrones people, because I know some of our listeners probably are, is we should come up with like very creative medieval type names to address each other when we come on the podcast. I think that would be really cool. Everybody's name in Game of Thrones is like, it's not just like, Jack Agner. It's like Jack, son of Tim, king of Brighton. Like it's like seven adjectives, to describe who that person was, because everyone just had very similar names. So it was like, how are we going to distinguish these people? But yeah, that's what we should do.
What are some adjectives we could assign to Jack?
We did this
I
last
like the
week.
father of one.
We did?
I like the father
I'm pretty
of one.
sure.
Last week?
We were like Bangarang Sayer.
Oh,
Beard
okay. I
haver.
did roll out the red carpet for you. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I did.
You did.
I
You've just been
like
giving me
to give
great
you a
intros
good-
lately.
I like to give you a good intro, man. What can I say?
I appreciate it.
Maybe I need to listen to my own podcast more often so I don't repeat myself. But I said something different. I said this week was father of one, son to two.
When was the last time you listened to a pod episode, beginning to end?
Well, I listened to Jack and Alec. I wasn't on that one.
Nice.
I did. This is a fun trip down memory lane. It came up in conversation recently, so then I went back and listened to it today while I was driving. And I did laugh at myself, which is embarrassing. But this podcast we did at Long Island Whiffs 2 years ago, I was talking about how I overdid it with the food.
That was a good one.
I was cracking myself up a little bit.
It's a good
talking
one.
about the scones and the scrambled eggs and the Dippin' Dots and the protein shake.
Dude, the hotel pods are so fun.
They are good pods.
Because we're a little loopy. It's usually after like a long day of a tournament
There's
or something.
a lot of people, too.
A lot of
A little
people
chaotic.
in like two beds.
Yeah, beds.
Some funny jokes to be had there.
Beds.
It's always a good time.
Those are good pods. But today we want to talk a little bit about, Jack, a little trade talk. Not necessarily trade talk. That might be misleading the listeners. More so just talking about where our heads are at, Jack. You and I, the co-hosts, this offseason, given that our seasons didn't end how we wanted them to. I feel like both of us are kind of on the hot seat a little bit in terms of how our seasons finished compared to the expectations.
The boosters are unhappy with you guys.
Yeah, the fund owners are a little unhappy. But
shareholder value.
yeah, we need
plummeting.
we need the money. I need to see my stock go up, not go down. That's my job as CEO of the Mallards. So I'll start with you, Jack. Just you've got a lot of time to digest. I know you were unhappy when your season ended. I was unhappy when my season ended. But just what are you thinking? Do you need to make some moves prior to the draft? Do you plan to? Are you still thinking about it? Where's your head at?
Well, first, let me just say I think hot seat is a little aggressive. It might be getting
It's warm.
It might be getting
It's
warm.
it's like a seat warmer on level 1. It's one bar on the seat warmer.
A level
Lukewarm?
1 seat warmer, just to keep it cozy, just to keep you on your toes and cozy.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, no, I think if I answered your question and said, "Yep, we're just gonna run it back, same boys, let's do it again," especially with a tentative retirement from Grant Miller, I think that would probably be negligent from a managerial perspective. So, no, I think, I guess for good or for bad, I will tell you guys that this has probably been the most active I've been in an off season, just in terms of like connecting with my players as well as, other players and other managers, just trying to see kind of like what could maybe work and fit. I don't have any like specific moves, obviously, to announce or that I'm gonna give you guys just yet. But I mean, we're gonna have to address some areas. Obviously, like replacing Grant isn't gonna be easy. Quite frankly, might be impossible.
But you can recreate.
You're probably looking at a Moneyball situation, right, where you can't just replace him with one player.
In their aggregate.
Yeah.
In the aggregate. So yeah, I think that's going to look a couple different ways. I think we're going to have to get better in our batting lineup through the draft. Grant also pitched a lot of solid innings for us, so that won't be easy to replace. And yeah, I think that it'll be a lot of similar faces and some new ones as well. I will say that, the Magic just kind of outside of RJ are compared to some of the teams in the league are a little bit higher in age. So I think getting younger is definitely a key for us, just looking forward and trying to kind of balance out the, average age on the team, just with, just being realistic and looking at life and what happens and the fact that, you can't always just count on like everyone to be able to return. I don't think that many, retirements outside of Grant have been announced, but I could be pretty sure that there's probably going to be others that come out this year, from guys, in the league. I just feel like we're getting to that age where, it's not as easy for people to just like commit that many weekends and that time to go play wiffle ball. And like kind of what you said, Tommy, I feel like there are some people also who, if they don't have the time to practice and like commit to it and know that they're not going to be super good at it, like aren't as interested in trying to compete, right? Because they know that they can't give it their all. So, yeah, as far as the Magic go, I think, like I said, we'll see if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I have been very active. As they say, I've been on the phones, looking around. So I guess stay tuned. And, Magic fans, just get ready. We're definitely going to have that chip on our shoulder this year, which I feel like we played with in years past other than last year, just kind of like being the defending champs. I think it's harder to kind of have that edge when you sort of like reach the top in a way. So yeah, look for a big bounce back season from the Magic and from the captain.
Well said. Jack, I did not know that you were being so active here in the offseason. This is news to me. Doesn't surprise me necessarily because you're a dog, but I didn't know you were sneaking around on the phone lines.
I've been on the phones.
You're on the phones.
You're honestly, you're probably one of the few managers I haven't reached out to. Just because I feel like I know where your squad's at. Because what?
It's just because you stink.
No, that's not why. Who knows? Hey, maybe that would be great content for the podcast if we had a Mallards Magic trade. I don't know what that would look like.
We did that once before.
I know. We should just redo that. We'll just send Bonham back just for content, just so there's a trade.
Hey, Jack, we should also reiterate that Grant might still be able to play in some capacity in 2025. The big thing, just for full transparency, is that the family, personal side of things are really coming into play with him this year in 2025. So, yeah, availability will be less. And it might mean no playoffs. It might mean the majority of the regular season. But if there's a day that he can play and the Magic are scheduled and he wants to be out there, like, he's going to be there. So, by no means is he completely written off, dropped, pick up by another team. Like, that's not even a scenario. Just for full transparency, he will still be on the Magic roster. We just don't know if he'll be able to make it every single time. But with that happening, obviously I've been in touch with Jack to make sure there's a plan in place to how do they recreate him and what his plans are. And Jack's been awesome with that. Also, this offseason, as opposed to other off seasons, I think Jack has done a really good job of this, but all the managers too. But checking in with like each and every guy on their team, just to see where they're at mentally, if they have the time and interest to play in 2025, and where they're at just personally. Jack's done a good job of that too. So that's kind of what we do in January, February before we look at the draft board to see who we might need to be replacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think really quick, Tommy. I appreciate you, Kyle, clarifying the situation with Grant. I would describe it like this, guys. There's kind of like three buckets of players in MLW. Okay, it's like buckets. the one bucket is like, yep, they're either a local person, maybe a high schooler, or they work locally and have a job that, if they need to take a little bit of time off, like a Friday or something, they can. And Saturdays, Sundays are no problem, right? They're probably not married. They probably don't have children, and like they can make it to everything, right? Every MLW event. Then there's like the middle people who are like, they might have some of that stuff going on. Maybe they play summer sports. Maybe they're like a little bit older. Their job's not as flexible. They make, most of them, but they're usually dependent. And then there's people who are like, it's too hard for them to be able to say like, yep, I'm definitely going to be able to make that series or this one or that one. It's kind of like you hope that they're able to come. But you don't want to like count on them to be able to be there. So the way that I'm kind of like thinking about it in terms of what we're doing this off season and like managing is knowing in the back of my mind that probably will Grant be at like one or two of our series, probably, but I don't want to like count on it because there's definitely a possibility that just stuff happens and he's not. So that's kind of like the way that I'm thinking about it.
So he's a bucket 3 guy.
He's a bucket 3 guy, yeah, which is fine, which is totally fine.
That could be some great pod lingo down the road. Like, yeah, he's bucket 2 player. Like, just casually throw that around for people to be like, what are you talking about? Bucket 3 guy. I
think this is good for our most diehard fans to hear first. But we probably will go out within the next couple of weeks, have Grant maybe do a video himself, just kind of explaining the situation with all that he wants to reveal himself. But yeah, we also have to add on top of it too. Like he comes in from the west side of the state every single time. So there is a bit of a travel aspect too. It's like, 2 hours here, 2 hours back at least. So yeah, it's just a lot of things adding up. And I think that'd be cool if Grant did a video himself kind of explaining in his own words, just like his availability and what he's foreseeing for this summer. So there are also other guys within the league that we touched upon that are kind of considering the same thing, is like they may be entering like a new stage in their life, personally, business wise, like everything. So they're gonna figure out and let me know within the next couple weeks if they want to play.
Interesting stuff.
I've already got 2 guys that it's pretty certain already.
Oh, like what do you mean, like retiring or like?
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
But we don't. The thing too, we never want to say boom retired. Yeah, because you never know in 1 year if they can come back.
You can Brett Favre it though. That's always a little exciting.
Maybe.
Can I just be real honest here, guys? I feel like I'm a bad manager right now. I feel like I have not done the work that is required of a manager this
You're a hands-off guy. That happens.
That's not always a good thing. You gotta do a little bit of managing. You don't want to micromanage. You don't want to do any macroagement, but you gotta be
Just check in.
Yeah.
Say, PK, how you doing, man?
Yeah, and
Davenport, what's up,
Preston's
bro?
been texting me, and I've been kind of ducking him. Not ducking him. I respond, but I'm always like in the middle of a work day or I'm with someone. Like,
I think Matt Carlington just had a youth championship.
I did see the 9U Carlington Hit Dogs.
That's big time.
Won a ring, which is congratulations, Matt. But I feel like I've been a bad manager. I have said though on record, like February, I'll start like thinking about it. It's February now, so
that's fair.
I gotta start. Well, not if I'm late to the game. Ben Johnson already has a job, and I'm still on the couch.
That's true. But do you want like your high school baseball coach reaching out to you and like, actually, you probably do.
You do
in the off season.
I mean, maybe not like day 1, but like maybe day 14.
Just give him a check.
Weeks.
Give him a check-in text.
But I agree, Jack, that I feel like I need to do something, maybe beyond just the draft. I don't know. Change up the mojo. We're just too negative. I feel like we're too pessimistic as a squad.
Should we get into the rumors? What teams have been talking, so that our fans
honestly,
can go crazy with
I forget the rumor. I know I got a mock offer. I got a real offer.
If you want to figure out a way to get P. Colm on the Magic, I'm all for it.
You want P. Colm?
I'll take him.
Live on air trade.
It sounds like you don't want to respond to me. I will respond.
Susan, get me Dave Dombrowski on line 1.
You're like,
P.
I have the
P.
time.
Colm, if you're listening to this, I will text you back.
I text him
He'll
back.
take his call.
I owe P. Colm a phone call. I got Subway just churning in my stomach right now.
I'll say Jimmy Norp has been active.
Jimmy Norp's been in my line.
Christopher Cheatham has been active.
Jim's been giving me these. It's like a fantasy trade. It's just like, come on, dude, give me something unreal.
Tom's been involved.
It's like a fantasy football trade from the guy you don't like. It's like, dude, what is this? It's like your buddy. It's like he's most messing around.
Insulting.
Yeah, it's a little bit insulting.
You're like, what, dude? He could have a huge second half of the year. It could be
there's
worth
one
it.
though. There's one that's kind of inviting.
There's one that's intriguing from Mr. James B. But I'll have to really look at it. I'll have to consult with my players that I have, figure out where their all heads are at, figure out where my own head's at with the squad, what I want to do. But I think I need to probably make some decisions here within the next couple weeks before draft day and figure out what direction I want to take the Mallards in. P. Colm is a good piece, Jack. I'll be honest. He's a piece you can build around potentially. I just need a little more confidence in that arm. Keep swinging the bat like he is. He's going to be a really good player. So he's definitely like, I feel like alongside Jordan, he's like the focal point of what we're trying to do moving forward. So I'm going to honestly talk with him and take his opinion a lot in terms of what he foresees for the squad and where he thinks we can get better. And then we'll take that into consideration with the trade offer that I have, any trade offers that I might get from between now and the draft, and anything I might offer up on my own for a certain piece or two that me and Preston think are good options to get the Mallards back in the win column in the postseason.
Tom and Jack, what would be the equivalent to a Luka Doncic for AD trade in MLW?
I made some notes on this.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have.
I have a Jeremy Adams for Dan Schultz trade.
How?
I disagree with that just because Jeremy's had 1 year.
Yeah, I guess. Well, dude, football careers are shorter than NBA season.
Yeah, but when I think of Luka AD, it's like vets, primes.
Yeah.
That'd be like a Wemby. That'd be like a Wemby comp.
I had Jordan Robles for Kyle Schultz.
Maybe some picks added in there too, because Jordan's probably better than me right now. But yeah.
Well, Jack, are you confused? What's going on?
This is a
comparison. Okay. All right. Sorry. Guy who doesn't follow the NBA. I'm thinking.
You didn't see this trade anywhere?
No. I saw the trade, but am I wrong here that Luka is like a really, like, he's like a young star player, and AD is like always injured. Is he even good?
I mean, he's good. Luka's. It is a very head scratching trade, but it's been the only time ever where in the previous season it was all NBA players where they were traded for each other the next year. That's why it's like very like.
Luka's better.
Interesting
by far.
Wait. Say that again, Kyle. Say that again. Why is it so interesting?
I'd have to check this, but I think it's the first time where in the previous season they were both on all NBA teams and they were traded for each other the next year. And I don't think that's ever been done before. But also, you're right, dude. Like, AD's always hurt, but Luka's like hasn't played in a while. The reports are coming out that he's getting a little chubby.
Yeah, what?
I don't know what the actual reason.
I also had a Pishka for Drew Davis on here.
That's kind of good. I was thinking more like Walgate.
He's only played for 2 years? Okay.
It is very interesting. I don't know. You could stack it up however you want, but it's a good player for a good player. I also thought it was really funny how the Jazz got mixed into it. Have you seen that?
It was a 3-team trade, right?
Yeah.
I don't know all the details, but
good Shafino and a couple picks. But that definitely shook up the sports world this past week.
I think it's a conspiracy.
I think the best
boost ratings.
The best comparison would be like you could use Preston, right? Like he's been in the league a couple years now. Some would say maybe he's a star. He's been putting up good numbers, especially at the plate. It would be someone like Preston being traded for who's like a veteran that maybe at one time was really good, but it is sort of hit and miss now. He might not show up. He might show up. Is that?
I don't know what Tom's doing over there. He's making a random movement.
Ring a bell?
Does that ring a bell, Tom?
Show up, not show up. You talking about Grant Miller?
No.
Talking about me?
Oh, ding, ding, ding. I guess you can't trade because you're on the same team, but.
Stupid trade, Jack. At least I'm not in. Well, I guess I have been injured. I am injured, but I haven't missed it. And I've never missed a MLW series due to injury. I don't think. A real series.
Yeah, I don't think you have.
No, not many people have.
Dude, remember when I got hurt in what year was this? Goodness. 2016. I had an ankle injury and I played in the All-Star game. If you guys go back and watch that video, I'm hobbling around.
You really right?
I don't know how I played. Yeah, in basketball. So I was playing on one ankle out there, but we needed to play the All-Star game. That was the only time I think in wiffle ball where I was affected by actual injury.
That's tough.
What about you? You don't have any?
I've definitely tweaked my hamstring in an MLW game or played
Tom,
with a pulled hamstring.
I've been playing
you've had the chest injury.
I've been playing with a torn pectoral for the last 3 years. Want that on record.
Disregard all of his stats.
One time
outside of the Philly series.
I believe Mallards versus D-backs in 2021. I cut my thumb open the day before, and I played through that like a tough guy. Lots of back injuries.
That's good though. Let's knock on some wood here.
Lots of back injuries. I'm always injured. Never healthy.
Should we talk about a very famous recurring injury with a certain player in our league that it was kind of like a joke in high school about?
Brian Russell's back?
Yeah. Why was that a thing?
That's not a joke, dude. Back pain sucks. Drew Davis in his elbow.
I'm pretty sure he got surgery on his back.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real.
I don't know if it was real or not, but everybody would just make fun of him for it.
Yeah, my back was hurt for 3 years too, and it's not fun. Drew, I feel like Drew's elbow's been a thing forever.
Yeah.
Or shoulder. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Hopefully
he's never healthy either.
Yeah. It's always a thing in wiffle ball where we see him one year, the next year they don't show up at a UWIFs or NWA, and you're like, what happened to this guy? And they're like, he had surgery, he blew out his arm. It's maybe because you play 48-foot unscuffed all the time, every weekend. Maybe that has something to do with it.
I didn't blow out my arm, thankfully.
Yeah, we don't have guys blowing out their arm with a 72-mile-per-hour limit. 38
I tried.
feet.
I gave it my all in a couple of NWLA tournaments for a couple of years there, but
have we ever told that story?
What story?
The 2019 NWA tournament.
Oh yeah, we definitely told the story.
Me and Tom, the only arms at that tournament. For anybody that has gone to that tournament, you know how crazy that is. Mm-hmm. 2 arms the entire weekend.
Just all rotated it.
5 or 6 games.
Couldn't walk for 4 days. I talked about that before.
I had to take an ice bath.
Yeah, I probably needed that.
The night before.
I was hobbling around the office the next day.
Me, Tom, Warda, and Russell. That was an insane group of 4. The absolute minimum we just rolled out there with. First ever NWA tournament. Mm-hmm. Which stands for the National Wiffle Ball League Association.
League Association.
I think, yes.
National. 3 things that are in every...
Right.
Just most basic thing. Jack, back to your conversation. So are you looking to make some trades? Or are you talking I'm figuring out amongst my guys who's playing and then I'm going to draft somebody? What are you doing?
I think it could be both. We're definitely going to add through the draft. I guess the question would be, what that player is. I think that would depend on whether or not a trade makes sense that happens for either players or if somehow an additional pick is involved. I'm not quite sure yet. I mean, I do know that what do they say, like doing the same thing, over and over again and expecting a different result is just insanity. That's kind of like what I feel like is even if it was just like the same Magic team hypothetically next year, I think the way that I would manage it and the way that I would probably set the lineup would just be different. So I think there'll be new faces, but I just feel like the Magic this year will have a much fresher feel, I would say. It'll feel new.
Fresher feel. I like that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a theme for all of MLW this year. Fresh, new, exciting. That's what my my go-to words are this year.
The Mallards need to do something. We're old. We're not fresh or new.
My line's open, Tom. My line's open. Let's chat.
By the way, I hope you didn't take. Hasn't called you.
I hope you didn't take offense to my intra Mallards trade that I just laid out, because I was comparing you to apparently all NBA Davis player in Anthony Davis.
I didn't take offense. I take more offense that you haven't called me, I think. Everybody but Matt. Jack just doesn't want any Mallards because they're all losers.
I thought the only person you were interested in was Pishka, so I didn't think I had anything really to offer you.
This is partially true. I'm open to any trade just so I can shoot it down right away.
Tom wants you to stock his machine for 3 years.
I do. Soda.
I don't want my guys paying for soda.
I'm serious. My eyes are watering over here. I don't know what's going on.
Jack, do you get all these references?
No.
Another Moneyball.
I've seen Moneyball probably twice, maybe 3 times, but it's not a movie.
Me and Tom are just crazy about it.
Great movie.
Yeah, I know you guys like you've got the quotes down. There's definitely movies that I can do that with, and Moneyball is just not one of them. I love it. It's a great movie. Wake up.
I want to sleep on this microphone today. That's how you know you're getting old. Gosh. Getting too old for these 7 p.m. pods nowadays. Jeez. Well, Jack, I'm actually very intrigued to hear about what kind of moves you're making. I'm intrigued to hear about this. Well, I'm intrigued to share with the league about the deal that I have. The deal that I have on the table, Jack, it is pretty cool. I'm kind of downplaying it. It would give me those adjectives you were describing. Fresh, new, exciting a little bit. But you also lose somebody who I enjoy playing with. So it's trade season, man. This is where it gets a little chaotic. It's February now. We got about a month and a half till the draft really happens behind the scenes.
It's also pretty fun though.
A little fun, but I'm just I'm nervous. I feel like I'm not doing enough for the squad. I feel like the Wildcats are going to be a wagon this year. I'll be the first to say it.
It's been a couple of down years. We're due.
Just the Pat Ballman practicing every day thing is throwing me off.
Ty Frenzing's always out there. He's always grinding. And shout out to you with the YouTube channel, Ty, and all the WR kids.
Yeah,
I was like us in the day, man. They're putting on for West Ridge. Absolute funnel into wiffle ball.
Got to do it.
Real quick, I want the diehards to know this first. I'm probably going to come out with like a fan viewing habits survey because I'm very curious to how people watch our videos. So DM me with like how you watch our videos. Again, the full survey will be coming later, but I want to hear more in depth on our biggest fans. So like, are you always watching at 4 p.m.? Do you watch on the TV versus your phone? Do you watch it with headphones, with no headphones, with a group of people, or by yourself? Those are some of the main ones. And then also another one is, do you watch it continuous, or do you kind of like watch a game, take a break, and so on? So I'm very curious to see like how that turns out. Especially the biggest thing for me is what you watch on TV versus mobile, because I feel like it's a lot more proportionate to television, like on a big screen as opposed to your phone, which I feel like prior to maybe the past 2-3 years has been the norm. So I can't wait for that to come out.
Interesting.
Kyle, what is the there's a YouTube channel that I watch, like a golf YouTube channel, and they
Good.
Well, sorry,
is it called Good?
No, it's called No Laying Up.
Not familiar.
So they do a bunch of different kind of series on their YouTube channel, but one that they do is it's called Tourist Sauce, and they travel to different parts of the world and play golf and film videos about them traveling and playing golf, basically. But they when they release them at like similar to how MLW does, where it's the same time, every week. But the way that they release them is kind of like it's not a live stream, but it's like a live release.
Premiere.
Like it's the first time a premiere. Like it's the first time it's being shown, and there's a live chat and
oh yeah, we've been over this.
Oh, we have been over this. Is that different at all from a I guess like monetization standpoint?
That's one of the reasons. Like when you have a premiere going, there won't be a lot of mid-roll ads, and even if there is, it like throws off. So not everybody's watching at the same point in the video. But the biggest thing for me is like, say you tune in at like 4:05, so you're 5 minutes late. When you click on the video, it's gonna show where that video's at. So it's gonna be a huge spoiler risk. It could be in the middle of the first game. Like it's gonna pick up where it actually is in the premiere. So I don't want anybody to be like just late to the show and then instantly miss like a couple scores, and then you have to rewind and see what happened. And in my mind, with like the way we present our videos, it's just like a huge spoiler risk. So I like to just schedule the video, have all that mid-roll ads be kind of scheduled, and people can just watch it as they feel.
Got it. Okay.
All right. I was telling Kyle, I'm not really watching any YouTube these days. I don't have anybody that's exciting. I'm sure there's out there. I just haven't.
Yeah, YouTube is an interesting time right now. Had some YouTubers return that have not been on the platform for the past couple of years for various reasons. Mr. Beast is still doing his thing. He's got his Prime show now, but
he's still uploading videos too.
Oh yeah. Mark Rober just had a video I liked. I forget what it's called, but honestly, I feel like it's a fresh and exciting time for YouTube.
Fresh and exciting.
Let me just bring up my subscriptions. I got to shout who I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm not watching.
Hey, We Got Ice. They're still killing it. Shout out to them.
They're making videos.
Oh yeah.
I'm not watching. You watching a lot of content, Jack, besides the No Laying Up show?
Most of my YouTube content these days have been like, how expensive is this home project going to be? And then, if the video's longer than 10 minutes, I usually just give up or don't do it.
I actually wanted to discuss the Humble Homeowner. I feel like it's been quite a while. Do you have any updates? I also have a funny Humble home renter story I could tell you that you might find amusing, but
yeah, I know this Zoom's gonna cut off here, so I don't know how far we want to get into this segment, but the Humble homeowner. Oh my gosh, I literally stumble
every time,
and I'm the one
segment name.
Nickens,
and I'm the one who came up with the segment name, which is the great part. But the Humble homeowner. No, it's been great being a homeowner. I'm still battling extension cords. If you guys remember that, I did. So the one like super long 100-foot extension cord that I bought just to make sure I had a long enough for my project. That was the only one I had, which is way too long for the distance I need to plug in my smoker to the house. And I really needed like the original one that I bought, like the 25-foot one. So I ended up just buying another one of those anyway. So I probably could have not returned that. But anyway, in the middle of smoking some jerky this weekend.
Whoa, jerky,
baby! Big on the jerky grind lately.
Like it.
It's fun.
I want some.
I'll bring you
jerky.
some. I'll bring you some. Yeah. It's pretty good.
That's sweet.
But so like because it's cold and the cord has not been like fully like stretched out. Like I basically lost like 5 feet of distance. So in the middle of my smoke, the cord actually like slightly unplugged from my smoker and stopped smoking like in the middle of it, which was not great. So I've yet to figure out how to use extension cords. That's great. I did look into fully replacing our bathtub that we have.
Yeah, you mentioned get rid of the jets and the other one,
which I decided not to, and I told folks I'm doing like this sort of DIY conversion, trying to switch it over. And so I did like recaulk and like reseal the tub this past weekend, which took way longer than I thought. Just getting all the stuff, all the like old caulk out. It was so old and like it was just falling apart. So it was super hard to get out. And that was like a very humbling experience. Just, I was so sore like on Sunday and today from just like being in an uncomfortable position, like in this tub, trying to get like scrape all the stuff out. Like, you know what I'm talking about? How you're struggling, but you're not in like an athletic position. You know, it's one thing when you're like bench pressing and you're just flat on the bench, like bench pressing, or like you're squatting, right? But it's like when you're like squatting in a tub and you're trying to like scrape out this stuff and you're barely big enough to fit in this thing anyway. Like, it's just so uncomfortable. So that was frustrating. A couple, I cut myself, a couple times in there, a couple battle scars, but you just got to figure it out. You got to survive in advance and figure it out. So, more to come on that. That project's not over.
I mean, how's the house looking? Like, you doing all this work. Like, are you happy with how things are turning out, or are you butchering it here?
I mean, it doesn't look like, it doesn't look much different. A lot of the stuff that, I mean, the kitchen looks totally different and looks much better. So I've already talked about all that stuff. I like how that ended up. Although the more I'm in there, the more I see like the little spots that I kind of missed and messed up on, which is annoying.
Yeah. You get better though.
But yeah. I mean, it's fun, man. It's fun. Just learning and failing and learning and failing and learning. So
and spending and spending and spending and spending.
Well, that's the thing. I've been trying to do everything kind of on a budget. So I think I've done a pretty good job of that, of trying to find ways to fix things the cheapest but most like effective way. So that's the fun part, actually.
That's fair. Thanks for the update, you humble homeowner. You got to keep us posted on how the tub finishes up.
I'm going to there you go. I'm going to start taking speech classes too, so I can say the segment right the first time.
I've needed speech classes for years, Jack, so maybe we should just go together.
Oh, yeah, we could get a discount.
All right, well, let's wrap up. We got time for maybe another 10 minutes or so. I'm trying to think of any stories I could tell myself.
You had a funny renter story, you said.
I did have kind of a funny renter story. My funny renter story I wanted to share, Jack, as a humble home renter, just a renter, lame. This was like something out of a movie that was kind of funny, kind of annoying, but it was just like, it's just little things that are funny. Saturday morning, one of my roommates wakes up and notices we're taking on water in the basement.
Oh no!
At a pretty steady rate, but luckily he caught it like right when it started to happen.
Taking on water, and
so he noticed the hot water tank was leaking. And the first funny thing about this is then like, I call my dad, and then he starts asking like 20 questions and like narrowing it down. And he's like describing this thing, and he's like, should be a pipe coming in, a copper pipe coming out. There's a drain copper pipe at the bottom, and he's talking. And it's just so funny to hear Dad get all like fired up about helping his kid with the problem in the house. And then after my dad got done with me, and we kind of troubleshooted things, then my other buddy called his dad. Same thing, 20 questions. Another guy all fired up to help out. That was funny. We ended up having to like call the landlord, who sent a plumber over. Timeline. So I'd say 10 a.m., water heater starts to leak. By noon, the landlord is at the house. By 2 p.m., the plumber's at the house, okay? So 2 p.m., plumber shows up. Plumber walks in, assesses the situation, and says, yeah, you need a new water heater and you need a new sump pump because you're not pumping out any water. That's why you're flooding. So two things. So he leaves. 3 p.m., plumber returns. This is now visit 2 for the plumber, right? He brings his son over. These two haul out the old water heater, bring in the new one. And listening to him and his son haul out this water heater was one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. We have this tight little skinny stairwell. This thing's probably so heavy. And those two are just like cursing up a storm, yelling at each other. Like, it was hilarious. We're in the living room just like biting our tongues, trying not to laugh at these guys. But it was classic. They get it out, they swap it, they leave, and they're like, yep, okay, you're good to go. Give it about 30 minutes, you'll have hot water. Like, your water will heat up. We're like, okay, perfect, sounds good. So we're all waiting there, like none of us has showered, we haven't cooked anything all day. And then PB, I'll send you the video, pop it up. We try to use our faucet like 10 minutes later to see if anything's starting to get warm. And our cold water is just flowing steady state like normal. Whenever you move the faucet towards the hot side, just a hard shut off, no flow. God. There's no water whatsoever. We're like, what is going on? So then again, same thing. Call up a dad. My dad right away like knows what's wrong. He's like, yeah, your valve is still shut. Like you're not getting any hot water to the house, or at least out from your tank. So we're messing with the valve, can't fix it. He's like, oh, I think your valve is broken. So this is a Saturday, right? Now it's like 4:00. I call this guy, Rob. I'm like, I'm so sorry, dude. I know it's Saturday. Like, something's not right. Like, we're not getting any hot water still. And he's like, are you serious? On my way. She hangs up, shows back up. So now this is the third trip from the guy, like 5 p.m. now. Jeez. And he's wrestling with this valve, fixes it, and probably took him about half hour. He's like, all right, you're good to go. Now water's flowing. Give it like 30 minutes. You'll be good. Guy leaves. Not kidding you. 30 minutes pass. We go to test the water. We're getting water now. It's still just ice cold. We're like, what is going on? We go downstairs. This thing is leaking again.
Oh my God.
Back to step one.
Back to step one. Leaking again. So now it's like 6:30 on a Saturday night. Call him. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but I'm like, we're leaking water over here and nothing's warm at all. He's like, he asked me like 2 questions. He's like, oh, okay. I'm on my way. He didn't say those words. He was definitely cursing up a storm. Then he comes back over. So this is trip number 4. One day.
Dude.
And realized 2 things. Number 1, the fitting going into the water heater was not attached right, hence why we were leaking water. And number 2, the hot water tank was never lit in the first place. So that's why the water was still cold. Fix those 2 things. Guy leaves. 30 minutes later, we have hot water. By like 8 p.m., it is fixed.
Day.
And honestly, what a trooper for showing up 4 times on a Saturday.
Can we give him his business some
I don't even know what it's
recognition?
Called. I don't even know. I don't know if I should, because it should have probably been one trip and done. But
yeah, you're right.
Props to him, though, for making it right, you know?
Dang.
Story's not over. No, story's not over.
Oh.
Today, I'm at work, and I always get like phone calls from like different area codes around the Metro Detroit area, and it's usually like hospital personnel calling me. So I have a 313 number calling me again. So I answer it, and I'm like, hello, this is Tom with Stryker. And he's like, hey, it's Rob the plumber. And I'm like, what's up, Rob? How you doing? And he's like, hey, man, I think I left my torch at your house. Can I come by? And I'm like, I'm not home, but let me see who is home.
Get him on the pod.
So this guy came over again today to get his stuff. So this guy came over to our house 5 times
Jeez.
For one job.
How far is his trips every time? Is he close by you?
Like 15 minutes only. He was coming over pretty quick.
Still like an annoying amount of time.
But man, it was just kind of funny. Again, it's funny because it's not my house. Like I wasn't having to pay for all the repairs and stuff. But just,
jeez, dude,
I felt for the guy. But it's just like I was like, this is America, man. This guy's got his own business and he's making things right and he's grinding on a Saturday night.
And he wouldn't stop until the job was done.
And he wouldn't stop till the job was done. He answered my call every time. Never sent me to voicemail. What a trooper. And it was just today it was just so funny. Was, hey, this is Rob the plumber. And I was like, I think I said, I'm sorry. I didn't he like went so fast I didn't hear him at first. And I was waiting to hear like, hi, this is so and so from so and so hospital. And just, hey, this is Rob the plumber. And I was like, sorry? He's like, Rob the plumber. I was like, oh, Rob.
Just Rob the plumber.
Rob, how's it going? It was just classic.
Dang,
That's
dude, both
fantastic.
of you guys. Knock on wood, but the MLW HQ over here has been good. So hopefully you guys your houses don't rub off on me and all these problems. But at least we got Rob.
It was fine. We got Rob. I can give you Rob's number if you have any plumbing issues.
I'll give him a call.
Yeah, I'll make the drive.
Those are the fact that you can laugh about that story because you are the renter and you're just like witnessing all that happen is that's what's so great about renting. And what the story you just described is like my worst nightmare. Like if something like that happens
for
here,
sure.
I am so screwed. Like we'll get through it obviously and that's how you learn, but that is like, oh my gosh, like that it's great that you can look back and laugh on that story because you're not the one hauling that water heater out of there and then coming back 5 times.
Yeah, if that was my house and I heard these guys like banging a water heater off the walls and wrestling this thing up, and if I had standing water in my basement drain because it's not pumping out of the house, I'd be freaking out. But it's like, it's not my house, so it's not the end of the world. But probably a terrible Saturday for my landlord who had to dump in $2,000 to our house. You know, it's not a great day probably on a Saturday.
Do you guys have any issues in college, like at the dorms or apartment buildings, like with flooding or anything like that?
I really did not. I got lucky because there was people in my building who had problems with stuff, but I was pretty lucky at Michigan State for the most part.
All of our drains got clogged one time in this apartment complex because the room ahead of us, like on top of us, was like, for some reason, I think within their culture, like Michigan's a very diverse campus, but they were flushing rags every single time they flushed the toilet. Yeah. And it just completely clogged all of the piping.
That has cost so much money to fix.
And then dude, it was like a whole week. There were plumbers in our room, then the rooms next to us. It was just a whole thing.
Jack, I have a story for you, actually, as a fellow humble homeowner, my father. I think you'd find this amusing a little bit.
Okay.
My dad is someone who he will go through all means necessary to fix something himself. He does not want to call anybody, right? As a man should, I suppose. But even if it could be way more convenient and way less time off his hands and way less stress, he refuses to call in any help.
Yep.
We had a family party last St. Patrick's Day. And I don't know what happened, but somebody probably flushed something they shouldn't have down the toilet. And then we had a clog in the basement, bad clog.
Yep.
And when I say basement, like, it's hard to explain, but kind of like where the water goes to the septic outside, there was definitely a blockage because like none of our toilets were flushing right in the entire house. Like it was main drain blockage going on. And so he like has this toilet snake that he owns. Tried that through every toilet in the house, had no luck. He took apart some of the plumbing in the basement to try to identify where it was occurring. No luck. He actually went to Home Depot and rented a 100-foot toilet snake. And he's like doing the math in his head, and he's like following this piping. And he's like, I think this is going to be enough, man. I think this is it. He was all excited. Like, we planned this out. He's like, I need you home. I need mom home. Like, I need everybody there. So I need people listening for things. And like, it was this big operation.
He never wanted to call Roto-Rooter?
No, he didn't.
Never?
Nope.
All right.
So anyway, I'm on a ladder now in the basement, like in our little like furnace room, essentially, where the water is exiting the house. And he's like, listen for the snake. You're going to hear it. It's going to get all the way to you. I'm positive. I know how this thing's run. So he's just feeding this thing. And I'm like hearing it vibrate. He's like, are you feeling it? I'm like, my hands are on the pipes. I'm like, I'm feeling something. Like it's loud. And then he's like screaming throughout the house. And he's like, you're going to hear it. Like, I'm going to hit it. And you're going to hear a rush of water. I know it. It's went on for like 25 minutes. And all of a sudden, sure enough, I heard just all this water being released. I'm like, I think you got it. He's like, are you serious? He flushes and he was so happy. So happy he fixed it.
That's awesome.
Which probably could have been fixed by a professional in 30 minutes. Took us a whole weekend, but he was so happy.
That reminds me of the Simpsons movie when Homer and Bart are working on the house, they're roofing, and it's just them, those two. That's how I view you guys.
Yeah, it was just funny stuff like that.
That's great.
I bought my dad a grill cover for his birthday. That's a dad gift right there.
Yep,
a new grill cover. I was like, I didn't even wrap it. Didn't even wrap it for him. Just in a cardboard box. I said, here you go. That's what you wanted, right? You go, oh, yeah.
Don't need it. Don't need it. Just get to the point.
That's guy code right there. Guys will understand. Like, you don't need to wrap it. It doesn't matter. It's the thought that counts.
That's what he said he wanted. He said he wanted a new grill cover. So I said, what's the make and model? And I got him a new grill cover.
Speaking of gifts, I still have Tommy's gift actually sitting on this desk right here. I'm looking at it.
Oh, we're doing it?
Which is pretty funny. I still have Jack's gift in my house.
No, we're not doing it. We just haven't.
We could do maybe a Valentine's Day exchange.
Maybe next Christmas.
Jack.
Maybe by next Christmas. Yeah, Valentine's Day. That'd be good.
Isn't it like Chinese New Year now too? Didn't that just happen?
That just happened.
Probably.
The Lunar New Year.
Lunar New Year? Gotta be something. I might be around maybe Saturday, Jack, this week.
Let's make it happen.
You guys got to film like the handoff.
The handoff and the handshake maybe?
Yeah, you might as well put that on the gram.
Put it on the gram. We need to get on the gram, Jack. We need to get outside on the gram.
Gram's active right now.
All for the gram.
Also, I saw some reels this week.
5,000 subs on the
we
Pipe It Up YouTube.
Subs.
That's a big milestone.
That's a lot of people.
Let's go.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think our this is long past. I think it has like 1.3 or 1.4, but I know, Jack, one of our reels with Sparky has like 1.3 million views, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we got 1 million on that.
We got 1 million on that, which is pretty impressive. I know we have like over 100,000 when one of our...
Sparky carried, but we still made the vid.
Still made the vid? What do you mean? Yeah, Sparky carried. That's okay.
I was just talking to Sparky. Dude, Sparky's a fan, bro. He's a fan.
He's a good guy. Very nice.
When the Rangers collab post with us, he obviously follows the Rangers, and he was like, MLW and Rangers collab? Like, what an insane collab.
Yeah, I saw that on the comment. I saw you commented that.
Yeah, that was sweet.
I respect that.
Oh, speaking of that event, by the way.
Oh, this is news. This is
that
news.
video. I'm combining that Rangers day with the tour video because I was thinking about it. Like, both videos are kind of like very similar. So I'm thinking of ways, and I'm editing right now to kind of like combine the two. And I think it's going to be pretty action-packed. Or what do you guys say? Packed action. It's going to be a packed action video.
Packed action.
So that'll be...
I like that.
I don't even want to say the day, but it'll be like a mid to late February upload. So
packed action.
I want to make it good.
Speaking of packed action, Jack, I want to leave you and the viewers with this. Next week, Jack, I believe the goal is going to be have Mark Schultz on as a guest next week.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Really? That's the tentative plan.
Let's go.
So we need to start. We need to plan a really good interview for him and really use his time.
You need some like Sean Evans hot ones type questions.
Some really deep diving questions.
Yeah.
Some hard hitting questions.
Yeah.
Maybe some fan submitted questions for Mark.
Oh yeah, they can come up with something.
Dude,
if I was a fan and I see this guy taking stats, like the amount of stories he's got or the amount of intrigue I'd have about him would be insane. I'm sure they have great questions.
I think our goal should be we should make one hard hitting question each. Well-written question each per day for the next 7 days. That'd be 14 great questions.
That would be fantastic. I can do that. I can get on board with that.
Okay, let's make that a goal. We have to check in with each other each night to make sure we did it.
And then what's the situation? You want him right here?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I think so. And I can be a little production assistant.
Or production assistant.
Maybe I'll be on. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm nervous. That's a lot of pressure.
It's been a while since I sat in that chair. Yeah. Maybe I'll get that one some run.
It's a lot of pressure to... we got to get another camera on your dad too, and a nice close-up shot of Mark.
No, that's doable.
Yeah, it's very doable. Pressure's on. I'm excited. We haven't interviewed Mr. Schultz in this podcast in almost 3. No,
I think he said episode 50.
Yeah, it was 50. So it's been like probably 4 years
in his own basement.
4 years ago, we did Mr. Schultz, which is crazy. That's insane.
That's overdue.
That's too long.
That should have been done last year.
I guess 3 years ago. But yeah, 4 years of episodes. That's nuts.
Was that the special?
It was 50th special, yeah. And then Rachel was on for 100.
Did we do anything for 150? What are we on right now?
We're on 234 this week, I think.
Dang.
234. It's a lot of pods.
Yeah.
I remember the first pod.
I remember the first pod.
It was called Drew's Horrible Flight.
Yeah, Drew's Flight Nightmare.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
That is the most viewed podcast, I think, still
I still remember that day, too.
Circa like last year, it was the most viewed on Anchor, but Sparky, the one that's over like 60K, I think, like, all platforms.
Just showed up on the plane. It's like, dude, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, Drew's
ears were shot.
Drew's Drew. But all right, so we're gonna buckle up for the Mark Schultz interview next week. It's gonna be a good one. And then we got this video coming out in a couple weeks as well.
Yes, sir.
Some Rangers whiffs.
That's right.
It's exciting stuff.
Rangers and other MLB players.
I'm also gonna chime in with an update in 2 weeks from now, guys. I promise I'm gonna have more updates on the Mallards and my management. 2 weeks from now.
I love that.
I have 2 weeks to get it together, I think.
What are you going to do? You going to have a pizza party?
Something. Something.
Something to get the morale back up.
What'd you say, Jack?
You're going to give me a call.
I'm going to give Jack a call. I'm going to get my guys all gift baskets.
That's good.
A good gift basket. Give the gift basket back. Give it back. The Office.
Nah, see, I don't get The Office references like Tom.
There's one where that's a good episode. Good gift.
I was giving Tom a bunch of Drake and Josh references.
Yeah.
Let me know if you're a big Drake and Josh fan too, because I was like, Tommy, trivia. Who are the two nerds in Drake and Josh?
I got one out of
He's like, Eric and I don't know the other guy. I'm like, how do you not know both of them? It's Craig and Eric.
Yeah, I didn't know
I hate to break it to you, Kyle, but there's no way the people younger than us who might be listening to this know Drake and Josh. I feel
there's
like
a lot of
they do though, because Daniel knows them all too. And he's 3 years younger than me.
I think TikTok also revived that show a little bit.
Maybe.
Or at least in our algorithm.
I know like iCarly.
Netflix
too. That was a little later. So I guess you're kind of right, Jack. But I feel like, honestly, it's another misconception we always have that our audience is like super young. But dude, there's so many viewers that are our age that'll get it.
Yeah.
No, we do have a lot of older listeners. Like I say older, not like you're old,
mid-20s.
Just older than what I was referring to. because the podcast that I announced that I was a dad, there were so many comments that were like, oh yeah, like mentioning that they were also parents, and I was shocked at how many people
dude.
that age and in that life phase were listening to this podcast. So I think it's
a
awesome.
silent majority. I think it's a silent majority.
That was a very wholesome comment section. I will say that.
It was great.
That's
really
that's the
great.
MLW community at its best, right there.
It was wholesome. I gotta get.
That was awesome. That you guys are the reason I come back every week. So it was cool.
True that. That's well said. Well said. Look out for Mark Schultz next week. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see you all there. Hype it up.